Hello, welcome to Clan MacGyver DDO. This is going to be an episode I'm making for one of the viewers. I got one of the comment sections, a question came up on how I'm able to juice a lot of damage out of these AoE effects that, like Shatter Defenses and Caustic Shot and all of that stuff. And the short answer is I have no idea, but we're going to go down to the, it's on this side of the ship. We're going to go down and discuss in a little more quiet so we don't have the wind blowing in our hair. And I'll go over all the aspects. This will be Dissecting Aygnus. We're going to break down all of the bits of her. I don't use a build guide, so there really isn't anything that I follow in particular. There's a lot of past lives, but I want to see if we can get the PRNG to give us anything good. Ooh, +1 skill tome of search. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I've got that one. And some plat. Did not need that. Alright, so let's start at the beginning with Aygnus' character sheet. Now Aygnus has not a whole lot of past lives. I mean, I've been playing Aygnus since probably I would say the second year of DDO. And the reason that is because my original main was Angus. Angus MacGyver. It's named after the TV character from the 80s television series MacGyver. I was a big fan of the show. Still am a big fan of the show. And that's kind of the background there. But I dabble a lot in builds. I have many build slot or character slots available over. You play a game for 18 years, you're bound to blow a lot of money on stuff. And so I would do tons of builds, and I'm not like I said, I'm not a build aficionado. There's really nothing. I would say there are a lot better, more powerful and better players out there for sure. I am probably very mediocre. But anyway, we've got 26 heroic lives, 5 epic lives, 7 racials, and 3 iconic. So, and those 3 iconic, I don't even know what one of them is. 2 of them are the Chaos Mancer, which is why I have this little ability down here. And that gives a total of +6 right now to my spell power. And I attribute maybe a bunch of the damage I'm able to do with Caustic Shot and Shatter Defenses and Thundershock weapons to maybe some of that. So it says here, on damage, deals 66 electric damage that scales 200% with range power and trips a target. So order of operations is probably important in this, right? So if something's on its back, it's probably getting a penalty and things like that. So firing this off first and then a follow-up, I tend to go 4, 3, and then 2 for single targets. My DCs aren't extraordinary or anything. Not sure why one is red and one is blue, but they're only 53. Nothing super high. Again, I don't do a lot of high Skull Reaper stuff or anything like that. In fact, this life that you've been viewing in the videos is really my first serious foray into the Reaper questing. And and there may be something about the damage that our viewer has seen that's related to, putting a point into this. All these little points add up. I've got extra range power. I'm not even sure what the range power is on Aygnus. 88. So I get an extra 3 from that. So we're looking at 91. Then I get obviously damage here is +1, so I can bring up the character sheet here, and the base damage isn't like, I don't know what's good or what's bad. It just is what it is. I don't have the best equipment. I'm not a raider. I have some more range power from my filigrees. So there is a Wild Hunter range power, Wild Hunter PRR. So, I'm getting 111 total from all of the various things that I have. So let's see, I've got one piece of Dreadbringer in there. So I can put that into the...
That was fun! I look forward to working with you in the future.
Oops, wrong slot. Yeah, I mean, my Sentient Jewel isn't hardly leveled up much. Got 8,000 XP out of 12,000. I've got a Spark of Logic, which I think gave me an extra pull for this as well. So, this is a pretty new sentient gem. And because I don't run tons of epic content, I don't get to eat lots of epic level gear, but I also don't get lots of named level gear, so I count on things like luck and lots of low level weapons, and I just chuck everything into it when I get a chance if I haven't sold it. So I save lots of named weapons over a life, and just my philosophy in life is all gains are made up of small little tiny increments over a long period of time, and so I don't try to optimize. How the heck did I lose? Oh, my bow. That's right, I took off the bow, so it's now at 106. So the bow is actually giving me some boost to all of my stuff. All right, so we'll go stat by stat. So I've got a +8 Supreme Ability Tome. I got that a long time ago. That they were having some special. I saw a video from Voodoo Spice, and he was explaining how they had this package. I was like, oh, that's really neat. So I got that. I think that might be where I got it from. I don't even remember what the thing was called. I don't remember if it came with the tome plus Illyri or what it was. But anyway, I ended up with a +8 tome really early on, and that's been very helpful. So I'm getting +8 into all of those just from the tomes. I don't know that any skills actually affect your ability to in the area of Thundershock weapon, etc. So anyway, this is so I don't really fully know what goes into the complete damage output when I'm actually firing this thing off. I mean, it's got the Battle Engineer imbue equipment, so it's increased by a +3. So let's see, so its base damage is only 39.75. I've seen some people's weapons have way higher. So I honestly don't know a lot of what goes into this damage output. As long as things fall over in a reasonable amount of time and I'm not missing, I guess I've never really cared to optimize anything. Like, I go with what I got. This is my epic equipment right here, and I'll be wearing this until I decide to stop playing in epic, and I might go. My plan has been to go through legendary and do the things. So anyway, we'll go slot by slot here. So these goggles, just for my basically the Swiss Army abilities, I can do all the search spot, open lock, and disable. I don't get anything from the set bonus, so I'm not doing that. The only set bonus I appear to have is Assault Marsh, so that's given me some of the melee power that I'm getting out of that 88. In fact, yeah, so let's look at that again. It's 88, and then I think this just boosts your damage, I believe. Yeah, so if I pump that up, now I'm up to 39. This adds 20 more range power, so now I'm up to 108. And then we'll look at double shot is currently at 55% with the Reaper strike on. I can't activate it, but that gives plus 10% more double strike, so that gets you up to 66. So some of the damage may be coming from, double shot. So obviously the higher that is, the more often that's going to happen. And 2/3 of the time when I have, at least 2/3 of the time when I have the, I usually activate this, for powerful enemies or something that looks super intimidating that I want to get rid of as quickly as possible. Then I activate it. I've only got 2, so I usually save 1 for the end fight, unless I know a shrine is coming up, and then I can, spend them on things along the way. So, next item in the gear slot is the Charisma boost from the Epic Smuggler's Cap. This is helping me get Salt Marsh. There's a green augment in it. That happened to be, because I play mostly casters and sometimes I play Artificer as a caster, I have lots of caster boosting things, so that's what's in here. So that's why I have a excess of spell points. I don't barely make it through them in any given quest, just because I'm mostly using the weaponry. So yeah, nothing here. So the Secret 9 is just giving me boost to crits and stuff like that. Even if I didn't have this particular hat, I would probably try to find something. I think in my bank somewhere I have a, what's that, Bloodstone? I think it used to be really popular. I do have one of those. I rarely use it because I try to be versatile, since I'm the only member of the party that's real. And the rest are just there to augment my damage and act as decoys, etc. I use my, back to my, doubling down on charisma. Yeah, so this necklace is what's giving my, it's redundant. I think I have the augmented summoning feat. I almost always take that. Yeah, so it's redundant, but it does fill in when I don't have augmented summoning. I tend to wear this anyway, and then I swap this out at level 29 for the epic version of this that I was fortunate enough to find sometime. Arrowbound Topaz, I think that gives you ability to swap gear quicker. I don't remember. Some of these things I just pick up, and I have nope, I get 3% double shot. So that's where some of the double shot can come from. So that's interesting. So that's like Lobby loot too. These are pretty. I pull these quite often. In fact, they go into. I've fed a lot of them to the weapon because I had so many redundancies. This is just out of the Slayer zone. Stoneheart trinket drops. I mean, fairly regularly. I don't think I have anything useful to put in it for green augment. So it just gives me my blur when I don't have this. I have other items that give blur throughout the heroic leveling process. So, yeah, it gives me a little bit of boost here, and I like spell resistance. So my overall spell resistance is 29 from this, and this is an extra protective, it's a countermeasure. So if so there's a bunch of spells that require a check against this, and sometimes it works. And if it works on those sometimes, yay, I got an extra. It's almost like having a saving throw buffer, I guess, because my saves aren't anything to write home about either. I don't think. I don't know what's good or what's bad. I don't, like I said, I don't plan builds out. I just read the words on these things and say, oh, that sounds like it's useful to me. So, get a whole 5 dodge on here. I don't even know if I got that great of a dodge. Yeah, I mean, it's 10%, I guess. So, nothing great. 65% missed chance. My goal is mainly don't get hit. If I can help it. If the lag is really high, then I may not have a say in that. Here's some more charisma. Just tons and tons of charisma items. Again, because I, play sorcerers and things like that part of the time. Because I don't, it gets a little monotonous playing a trapping type build. So once in a while, I like to switch things up. And then I don't mind the redundancies because I tend to have to take things off to get buffs and stuff like that. So here it is, parrying, so I get a little bit of extra AC off that, some dodge and feather falling, and it's my source of heavy fortification, I believe, and this armor also has heavy fort. Yeah, so it's just useless. This is a lower level item, so yep, it is what it is. This is from Feywild, I want to say. I don't know exactly which quest. That's where I just keep my Master's Gift and get a little extra XP boost. I've only got one Master's Gift, and tools are expensive, so I tend to wear this as an extra source of XP. Although I do tend to run potions all the time. Used to be in an arms race with people in my old server on my old guild and bought bazillions of these stacks of superiors and stuff potions, so I still have them coming out of my ears. This was a Salt Pro ring that I upgraded. Turns out when you run lots of Salt Marsh quests, usually run them over level because I can't, you level past stuff so fast in this game that I ended up getting this, and then I said, you know what, I would rather have epic gear than heroic gear because I'm going to level past the quests pretty quickly anyway. And I do have, I don't really care what I'm wearing in heroic all that much. I mean, I do wear Ravenloft gear, and I do have some Feywild sets, but nothing that I'm gonna wear to the end of time. So there's this thing again. It's more more charisma, more resonance, because that will help with. So that I want to say that I have in the epic tree stay loud. Yes, and so this will boost sonic damage quite a bit. So my evil damage is quite high because of the epic rune arm, which is the astral projector. But we'll get to that. So my chaos is pretty high. Must have a radiance item of some kind. Then my Sonic is almost 300, so there's nothing in here to write home about. When I'm playing a caster, I will have these very high in the around the 700s, so about double. But again, I've got gear to help out because that's my focus. So yeah, that ring, it's got death block on it, probably a redundant item. Gives me a little wisdom and then helps out with the Salt Marsh set. And then Gloves of the Tinker, redundancies. So these are disable and open knock, which are nice. So, you know, it's redundant with this. It's just adding a +1 to these. So my gear is less than optimized. But, you know, again, I'm not a real in the business of caring too much about that. But since I use these gloves on Aygnus as a Artificer, they have a ranged power boost on them. And then just a low Constitution 9 item. It's just what I could plug into there as a level 20 augment. Then these boots, I think, came out of... I want to say these come out of one of the quests in the Borderlands as well. I may have just got them this life. These fill in for the boots that come out of the Death House quest. I don't remember the name of them, but that's what I wear during heroics all the way up until I can put these boots on. So I will go out and do Slayers to get to level 21 as quickly as I can. So I go through Feywild, go through Salt Marsh, farm a bunch of gear to get up to level 21 as quickly as possible, since that's where a lot of my... Just so I have a nice complete set. Some starts at 20, some starts at 21. Like the ring over here, I believe, is a level 21. That's another... keep on the Borderland item. Couldn't tell you the quest it comes out of. It was synergized with my build because of the intelligence, and thus that's why I have it. Bracers are the Salt Iron Bracers. They just give me some of the sheltering I have, some fortitude, vitality, some natural armor that may be redundant with some other piece of gear, and then some dex, just if I benefit from it in the armor class department, then yay. I don't know that I am. Max dex bonus is 19, so I'm not even able to fully take advantage of that because my dex is only 33. But with that, I got the clicky for displacement. Claims to be 1 minute and 30 seconds here, but with Artificer, everything gets distorted because of your some of your gear abilities and stuff. Just things you pick up as you level the Artificer adds onto there, so I actually get 2 minutes of displacement. All right, so let me close this so we can not get too distracted, because I'll cover some of that later, and then I can kind of... So we'll go to the skills that I've been putting in during the leveling process. So I got 37 here. It's based on all the times I've upgraded it, plus I have a +1 tome in it. Sometimes I'll go a life where once I complete a saga, I will go through each of my skills, look at the tomes that come out of the saga, and if I have a hole, I will patch the hole. Because I get tons of these tomes. I mean, this tome probably came from a daily dice roll. So I tend to turn those into, well, look at here. We got a search skill tome. Like I said, I'm about 99% sure. Do I not have a search tome? I do now. There we go. See? So I use these to patch holes. So I look at my build. Yep, there we go. And I think I have upgrades to these. So this might have been a very lucky pull today because I've probably got a upgrade to +2 and then maybe others. So maybe I'll be able to get my search up just super high. I don't know if this is super high, but since it's just based on int, so it's going to be just high because of my relatively high intelligence. And I get in Reaper, I get +1 onto my intelligence because I put 1 in there, so I'll be up to 25. So I haven't experienced any problem spotting anything or searching anything almost ever. I do know where lots of things are, so if I don't see them with a spot, my hirelings can tend to spot them as well because my hirelings are buffed very heavily by my past lives. So yeah, Hagel is no tomes in that. I don't know that I've ever. I don't know. Maybe you can get Hagel tomes. I've never looked for one. I really don't care that much about it. I rarely have a problem with money. In fact, my money problems tend to be in the positive direction because I'm the only member of this guild. I don't tend to shop on the auction house much. Once in a while I do. Once you've played the same build type over and over and over, you get the gear you need for that build. See, one more piece of equipment we did look at my weapon already, but I farmed this out from the event that's been going on. So it has a topaz of damage +8. So that's kind of nice. But it imbues with evil, and that scares with range power. So that's nice. It gives me disruption for undead, ghostly for ghosts and reapers, death block effect. So again, another redundancy, but that's okay because if I switch something, I always want to have death block as a security blanket. And that's where my radiance is coming from. So my alignment based spell power that we saw, the evil and stuff, is boosted pretty heavily from this. And this quiver is nothing special. It adds a little bit of damage. And like I said earlier, I'm all about the small numbers add up over time. Like 1 is literally greater than 0. So if I didn't have this quiver, I wouldn't be doing 1 or 2 damage. And I like doing 1 or 2 extra damage. Every little bit helps. And so all the little things that I can add onto this weapon to do extra things. Some things are immune to those, so they'll get hit with the evil damage, and so there's always something on this weapon. In fact, this is a really unremarkable weapon. I will be looking forward to level 29 to get the Barovian crossbow because it has so many types of damage on it. But this does aberration and monstrous humanoids and undead. So the unnatural works pretty nice against several enemy types, but mostly I'm getting everything from my Sharati Thundershock Imbue. The evil damage is really important, and then stay loud. So jump. Nope, tomes in there. Open lock. Must have found a tome for that in a saga. Must have found a tome for perform. I never play bards, but this is probably helping my stay loud quite a bit. It's a charisma skill. My charisma is quite nice due to all of those items you saw. Repairs an int base skill, so it's just getting boosted quite heavily from that, but no tomes there. Search, we just added the tome, so it went from 83 to 84. Spellcraft. Aygnus has all my characters have the +2 skill tome when upon creation. So whenever I create a new character, I get a +2 bound to, I believe it's bound to character tome. And so that's where this +2 comes from, because I play casters when I'm not playing Artificers. Some of that is due to that being my other favorite type of class. Some of it's due to equipment that I own. But at the end of the day, it's just that's Spellcraft happened to be the tome I took when I was creating a. Aygnus started life as a Pale Master of the olden times, back when that class was terrifying to play. So if you're in vampire form, there was no way. I don't remember there being any way to mitigate light damage at all. So going up against some of the monsters out in the Orchard of the Macabre where they cast Searing Light, you either don't get hit by it or die instantly to it. So yeah, not now they have ways to mitigate that effect, but back then it was running with the devils was a horrifying quest to run, and then my friends would all want to run it on Reaper, and you wouldn't even make it past the first room because everything in there is the Eladrin are all casting Searing Light. Back in the original Reaper days, they had so much power you would just get destroyed. You wouldn't make it out of that room. It was just horrible, and it didn't even matter if you were undead or not, because even if I turned the form off, they're doing so much damage. It was more than you had hit points for. But anyway, that's just war stories. Looks like I've got a +3 tome into spot, so this probably explains a lot of why I don't have much trouble, even though my wisdom isn't super remarkable. It's only 34, and I say only, but I've got items that are boosting that +8 off of one of was it this? Yeah, 9 +9. So swim. Looks like I must have found a +2 tome along the way. That could have been from an epic level saga. In fact, I think I can recall getting that, but maybe not. Doesn't matter. Got tomes in there. No tomes in this one. It's just is what it is. Tumble. Because of the +8 tome, you tend to get lots of extra skill points. So I usually put some in tumble. UMD. Looks like I have a +5 tome in there. That may have been a purchase from the DDO store when they had a sale. Maybe that was a few years back. But I do rely pretty heavily on UMD to augment my shortcomings. But that's why I love Artificer so much, because you get all of that ability to you're like a Swiss Army girl, you know. Well, Aygnus is my Swiss Army girl, but yeah, you just kind of got it's just fun. To me it's an immersive experience of, you know, I'm this creator of all, I can improvise things on the fly. I can use scrolls that other people may not be able to do. I mean, I got a 300% chance to cast displacement. It's ridiculous, right? So but being able to pick up any scroll you find in a dungeon or a wand or anything, and and because of your understanding of the mechanics of magic and creation, you're able to do these really cool things that other classes are unable to do. Plus, you can disable traps and create traps and things like that. Just makes it such a fun build. Concentration. If I were a caster, I would use this. I am not of the school of thought that I blow a feat on Quicken Spell. I just put lots of points in the concentration and don't get hit. It's my play style, though. I play a very evasive way. I will throw daggers at things if I see something in the distance and pull them. To me, I always want to be in control of the battlefield. I don't run into a room and just Leroy Jenkins the thing. So it's not my play style, unless something terrible happens and things aren't going my way, and then I'll try to beat a retreat a bit and use cover. all that stuff. The game has lots of different ways to play, which is really nice. So I tend to use terrain a lot. Like a cops and robbers. If you've seen any of my videos, even on my first life Reaper series on Cormier, I'll fire some shots off, duck behind something, so a spellcaster either can't hit me or someone with a bow can't hit me, and they're firing into a stone or something else. So I do rely on concentration as a caster, and I put my points into it, and I use the feats for other things. That's just me, and if you are of the school of thought and you think Quicken is great, then that's definitely what you need to do. But I just don't subscribe to it, because I value all the spell points I have, and that's one of the reasons. And then once you start getting lots of meta magics and you start stepping outside of your SLAs and things like that, I just think the spells are too greedy. Reaper kind of mitigates some of that, which is why I don't mind using tactical detonation. I don't even know if this is we'll look at that a little bit later. But anyway, we'll get through the rest of these things. Concentration, I soapboxed about that a bit, and I do have an inherent tome of it, so I must have got it out of a saga. Heal, I have upgrade tomes of heal in the bank, but I have not found the lucky tome that allows me to start the cascade. I think once I do get a +1, then I have upgrades from +1 to +2 and +3 to +4, so I could get a lot of extra healing power. I don't play clerics much anymore. I used to in the old days when I ran with the guild and liked playing a healer. But nowadays I don't really do much. It just goes where it goes. Hide, I never use that, but it looks like it's a dex based. I used to play sneaky rogue sometimes, but I found the rogue to be a little bit too squishy for me, and they're not really great solo. Even with a party full of hirelings, you pull a lot of aggro with your damage, and then suddenly you're not sneak attacking, and now you're not doing the damage, and so just is what it is. If I had better skills, maybe my pets could intimidate or something, but intimidate's just base level. Nothing going on in listen. I rarely use this. Hello, sometimes it works if you got a piece of gear for it, but I don't. I used to use this in the older days when if I had a piece of gear that would boost this, because you can see those little red circles when things are moving, so it would be helpful. But mostly I just put everything into spot nowadays, because I always want to see things no matter what class I'm playing. I want to have some spot ability, which is why I've got +3 tome on this. It's just, to me, it's important to see your enemies. I don't want to be in a position where I can't see something. So if your spot's high enough, the game will allow you to target things. Sometimes even when you don't see them, there's some interesting things you can do with the way the vision works in this game. So for example, sometimes you can do a quick turn and tab, and you'll pick up something, and then you weren't supposed to be able to see it, but it'll show up in your little orb down here, and so I'll use that to target things. And I don't know if spot helps with that. It may, maybe it doesn't, not sure. All right, so ratio points, I only have 5. In fact, let's go back to the thing, because we're not done with this, so we can look at feats first. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. Aygnus is a completionist. Back before there were a lot of other options available, it was kind of the cool thing to do. Like I said, I ran with some friends in a guild, and so I have all of the class pass lives. So somewhere in here, yeah, I'm getting completionist. So +2 to all the things. So that is a possibility. So I focused on this before anything else, and so I like Artificer's only acquired twice. I'm surprised, even though I run it more often. I think I've been kind of wanting to get racial points because I want those enhancements. There's so many good enhancements in racial trees that I feel like I've neglected. So I've been doing a lot more recently in the racials. But Alchemist, I've only done one, just enough. I don't know if I like this class or not. It is kind of a neat thing. It kind of, like, I do like some of the aspects of it. It kind of the idea that you're this chemist and you're using potions and poisons and other things like that to defeat your enemies. That's really a cool concept to me. How it plays out, it's it's tough leveling it at lower levels, I think. So I got it to level 20 and just said, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for a while. I do plan to revisit it though. So Artificer, I've only got twice. Barbarian once. I'm not a melee person. This was a horrible, horrible life. I remember it. In fact, I got to level 7 and I used a gem. It was when Otto's boxes were first introduced, and there was an expansion that came out, and Otto's could help a friend. I think they intended it to help your friend's level, and we did some of that too. But I used it to get the heck out of the barbarian life. I went to level 20 and reincarnated. I was like, enough of that. Bard is probably 1 life. I can't imagine it being more. Another class I like in Spirit. I'm not very good at playing it. I think if there was some maybe there are ranged type builds. Maybe I would play it again, or maybe it's casting days. Again, these were things that I did so many years ago. The game's nearly 20 years old now, and these would have been things I did way, way back. Cleric, I have done that. I won DDO, apparently. Druid, I love Druid. I will be doing more Druid. I want to see how it plays out these days, because I've seen some of those new archetypes that have come out. I think Druid has an archetype, like some, because I've seen people looking like really horrid, ghastly looking creatures, so maybe that's where that's from. I did 1 life as a favorite soul, 1 life as a fighter. Again, melee is not my monk. Monk was pretty cool. It had just come out, and I played it up to level 20. I did enjoy it. I liked the ability to jump great distances and slow fall and stuff without having to worry about feather fall. I always thought that was really neat. Paladin I did like quite a bit, and therefore I have 3, but I did this more out of necessity to in the early days of Reaper, it was much harder than it is now. I'm clearly I'm running around on a first life on Cormyr with no gear and doing just fine in Reaper questing. That was not the case in the early days of Reaper. It was very, very punishing, and it's what turned me off of Reaper for the longest time until recently, when I saw Bear Party DDO and they're able to heal out of combat. I'm like, what? That's crazy. Why would they concede such a powerful weapon against the players? Because I had taken a break from the game and Reaper had come out, and my friends had told me they introduced this new feature. We really, really have to run Reaper quests now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was dead more than alive. I think I spent most of my lives dead. So the game was horrible to me. Ranger 1, Rogue 1. Again, Sorcerer 3, I'm going to have casters much higher. Sorcerer's way more than 3 lives, but you only get 3 to cap it off. Warlock I've done 1 wild mage. There's the 2 wild mage for the iconic, but you also get the sorcerer. So that was, that's interesting. I guess I maintained completionist by accident. Anyway, and wizard. Iconic past lives. There's Chaos Mancer twice. PDK, that's where I don't know that's where I got the fighter past life. Do you get fighter past life for Purple Dragon? I honestly don't know. It was the most disgusting life, I think. I should probably maybe try to get, hold my nose and go for some of these. But I don't know that this is affecting me in any positive way other than, the PRR there, which I wouldn't mind having more of that. But then here's my racials. So this, and then the reason I have 5 total is the tome that came with the recent expansion. The Mythdraenor, I believe, comes with a +3 racial tome. So I thought that was amazing. And it really does give you a bit of an edge. So there could be some benefit I am getting from the racial past lives, although can't be too much. 1, 2. But I do like Warforged. I play as Warforged. Not usually as a caster, but as an Artificer, I'll play Warforged. And I think that's how I got all 3 of these, was doing Artificer as Warforged. But I use Healer's Friend instead of giving myself lots of repair amp, because I do have the 3 Paladin past lives, and that gives you a lot of extra healing amp, if I remember correctly. These are just the tomes. I do have all of these things, I believe. These are the ones you get from turning in the little cookies that drop from the champions. Wish I could remember what they're called. I wish they would give us more things to do with them. Maybe I'll have to buy potions or something. I don't know. But they are called Mysterious Remnants, right? I don't know where I keep them. Somewhere in this vast... Wait. Hold on. There we go. I got an extra inventory slot. Yeah, I don't see any in here, but I'm sure they're in one of the many bags. Who knows? I've got like probably close to 10,000 in the bank. I just don't know what to do with them, and I really would only like to, if they would let us buy more and more of these tomes. So the MRR, stuff like that, range power. So I got +2 of my range power comes from this inherent thing. So so maybe that contributes some to my damage. I imagine a lot of, well, hopefully, I mean, if this is something you just learned, then you'll benefit from knowing that. I don't know what this is. 3, having 1 racial action point per acquired. Oh, so this must have came from the Mythdraenor tome. I had never seen it before, so this is new to me. We're learning it together. Then the spell power is twice. So let's look at feats next. So I have taken dodge to get some of my dodge. Reflexes I tend to spend on this, so we'll just pretend that I value reflex saves more than I value quicken. And dismiss charm, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe everybody gets that. Favor reward feats. Got favor from the Corminthor elves. I don't know that I completed this and got all of the favor. but I got at least one rank of the favor, obviously. Blessings of the Feather, I always do Ravenloft every life. It's my favorite quest series. This comes from Giant Hold. So Gatekeepers, I get that favor pretty early on from doing the... I think you get the... I want to say you get this pretty quickly just by doing that little series, but I don't remember. But clearly I have got it, so I must have done something. Because, yeah, you get this one first, and then obviously the hit points always come second. But, yeah. Don't know how I got these. Then House D, I always do the Sorodusk Isle chain. I think it's Sorodusk. Cult of the Six and the prequel to that. More skillings there. This one, not super great, but does contribute a little bit to the Stay Loud probably. Sharn, got all of that. I don't know that I have the full cogs. I don't know if do you get a cogs favor? Maybe not. Maybe it all goes to Sharn. Maybe that's why I have the hit points. I clearly did all of them this time around. I think I had the video series for it, so that's probably how I got them. And then Summer Court. I don't know that I finished the entire saga this time around. May have leveled past it. This is how I get my lightning trail. So if you're watching Bear Party DDO, this is where the lightning trails come from. It's the dragon reward. It's just down here. There's no rhyme or reason to many of these. This is where I typically lay things out from life to life. These are always buffs, my numpad keys, and then my alt numpad keys are always my hireling summons. So, and then my spells are always on keys 1 through whatever, and 0 is always open lock, no matter what. And if it's not open lock, it's knock. So let's see, I have improved critical ranged weapons. So that might, so my critical threat range on this bow is 16 to 20. So that's, what's that, about 25%? I'm not good at math, so I'll just leave it to you math people to figure out. But that looks like a fifth of it, so 20%. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 20, so 1/5 of a 20. So yeah, 20% of the time I'm critting. So maybe there's something to it. My Sunder skill is only a DC this is Sunder. I don't know if it affects this because this says what DC it has on it. Which is a 53, like I said. I don't... Does this go up with greater heroism? It says... Yeah, I don't think it has an effect on it. I mean, we can try.
That was fun! I look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, it didn't have any effect on it at all, so I don't know how you can boost that up. I'm sure somebody will know, and if you know, that would... and you want to leave a comment on it, that would be great. So I got weapon focused ranged weapons. Meta magic feats are these. So accelerate is there for chucking. I think I ran out of good things, and like I said, I have no desire to use quicken. So I use, so this is probably affected by that. Now. It wasn't before, but it is now. So I haven't even turned that on. Let's see what it looks like when we chuck it now. Yeah, it was super fast. Can I heal that thing? We'll chuck one at the dummy. Maybe it works. I don't know if I can target the dummy. Nope. Alright, let's bring the sheep back up. Heavy armor, I think I took this. I don't think I get this for free. So that's part of, I like wearing heavy armor as an artificer, even though that is not what I'm wearing. I think I'm wearing light armor now, but it's more out of, this is what I have for epic armor, and it gives me a decent enough armor class. So that's why I have it. If I had heavy armor, I'd be wearing it. And I do at level 29. I have the Ravenloft stuff because that's where I've had most of my luck getting legendary level gear. By luck, I mean I've had some, but not like tons. I do believe I do have a full set of Ravenloft, even though it's not all synergistic with my class. But sometimes having that extra boost to these things seems fair, worth it. Point blank shot, so some of the damage you may see me get, if it's close enough, I don't rely on this heavily until things are within range. But once they get closer, I'm obviously going to get 1W onto the weapon, and so thus damage will increase quite a bit, and you get a +1 onto the critical threat range. Precise shot. That's all I have, and then the Archer's Focus. So Archer's Focus builds up if you can resist the urge to run, which is why I usually start combat from a greater distance, and then as I stand still, as things are running towards me, I can get a few stacks built up, and that'll start to build damage up because that adds range power, right? Anyway, I don't know if I can trigger it from here, so I'll summon some bolts. Get out the weapon. Fire rune arm because we do want to. Well, actually, if I do the rune arm, I think I should just fire that off. Okay, I don't want to do that because. Yeah, I mean that's what. Let me. Okay, I didn't turn off the rune arm. Alright, thing is back alive. It's still going to imbue my bow, so... Yeah, see, I got Archer's Focus, so I got 3 stacks of that. Now I got 5 stacks of that, and you see the damage just climbs, and this is just giving me +5 confidence bonus, so now I'm at a plus... Is it always +5, or does it... Does it 5 per stack? I don't know. I guess we can bring up the character sheet. Look at how that functions. I, again, don't normally care about this all that much, but... Okay, Archer's Focus. 103. 113, so it's adding 5 every single time. So definitely has a great effect on your ability to destroy things. So now I'm up to 8. We go check it. Shoot it, would you? So yeah, we're up to 138 range power and 148. So that could be, if you aren't using that, I learned that again from Fair Party DDO, so thank you for that. I would have never, I never cared about a lot of these smaller details because I seemed to be doing fine. I mostly ran everything on Elite though, so. And Elite's actually it's easier somewhat to run on Reaper, just due to some of the extra damage and abilities you get on top of all of these other things. So, I don't have lots of Reaper points, only 19. That's a good percentage of them. 2 of them I think I earned this life alone, and I think I'll be able to earn a third because there's still plenty of life left to go before getting to legendaries, and then legendary the XP is stupidly high. So, and I succeeded pretty well at getting legendary Reaper XP as a Chaos Mancer. And that was on my second Chaos Mancer life. I just decided, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and see how this goes. And turned out my hirelings are just OP, and they carried me through all of the quests. They tend to keep everything busy, and I can do lock them down with crowd control and then hit them with damaging spells. So I did that one with the bear Grim and Barrett, I think. That was the first really difficult one I ran on Reaper, and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad, although it was pretty terrifying. It took a while. It was definitely a slog. Then I went over and did the ones in the Cerulean Hills. And then I said, okay, that's a good taste of those. I will. And then I did decide to really crank it up and go into the Death House over in Ravenloft. And that one does not go as happily, but at least you have a shrine outside the end fight. So if you do give up the ghost, I did not, but it was just, we were definitely taking a pretty good beating. It's a very difficult end fight with all of those things that throw the shards at you. So anyway, back to the feats. Rapid shot, rapid reload. Yeah, I guess I do take rapid shot. I either did this as a mistake or on purpose. I don't know. I don't know why I have this. This was not the character. So I hemmed and hawed about this yesterday on the Cormier server with my first life character over there. And I took it. Apparently I take it on this. So take that for what it's worth. That might contribute to some of the extra damage I'm doing. Oh, rapid reload. Look at that. A great crossbow, heavy crossbow. Repeating is tuned down, probably. I don't know what it used to be. But anyway, and then my feats, but these just boost all my abilities for my pets. And so with that said, I do rely on hirelings quite a bit. They are a crucial part of this build. And so we'll select my pet. Now I have my pet bound to the P key. P normally, I believe, by default, opens up the Adventure Compendium, or P for Patron. What I do is I bind all of these windows, like my inventory, my I didn't mean to do that. So my inventory, that's Control I, Control R I have bound to enhancement trees. Control C is for my character sheet. Control E is for my epic. Control X doesn't do a dang thing. I don't know what X does. X is my XP window. I use that. Z is my Fire Rune Arm thing. And if key bindings are interesting to you, I can walk through them. But mostly, I want to tell this for Bear Party DDO if he's watching. You can bind a key to your pet. It's not any of the F keys. But I'll go through that later. But I want to inspect my pet because my pet is buffed to the 9s. So this ship gives it buffs. Whether he eats the buffs or not doesn't matter. Then I also have epic summons. I didn't see that as a feat, but I think this probably starts to explain why I can drag heroic hirelings through epic quests and they still... That I don't know. Or it's just because he's an epic level hireling. I don't know. We can check that out later. But it's getting +6 to all its ability scores. Add that to 4, 10. +5 melee and range power, +10 universal spell power, +5 PRR and MRR. This is from the ship, giving him another bonus to all his ability scores. Or is that from Harper Tree? We'll find out. Yeah, it could be from Harper Tree. So, +2 to all ability scores. But again, you'll see he's got no ship buffs here. So then, he's getting enhanced magical resistance rating and enhanced physical resistance rating. There are 2 rooms in the ship that offer buffs to your hirelings, whether or not you make them use them. Obviously, you can't bring hirelings onto the ship and have them actually do anything. But they will benefit from these extra buffs if you have a ship. Then he's just getting a city regeneration. So that's why my hirelings are pretty boss. Even when in Reaper quests on Epic, I'm still running heroic hirelings, a level 18, a level 10. And sure, they get killed from time to time, but I tend to try to take care of my hirelings. I give them buffs, and so there's nothing higher than a level 18, except for my Epic. I use Albus because he has Mass Death Ward. That's the only reason I'm using Albus. I mean, he does damage too. He provides, he contributes to my off-cycle DPS and all that, and they're doing things, and they heal each other. My worst hireling in the pack is probably Darling. Darling is kind of an aggro magnet, so I try to keep on top of damage, and Boxcat is very tough, obviously. Like, it doesn't have any MRR outside of what it said. I don't know why they don't show MRR, but we did see that it had MRR, but he's got an Ironheart Docent on. I believe this comes out of the Sharn quests. It'll be mine, like if I was playing a Warforged, unless I have 2 of them in the bank. I don't know that I do. But if I were playing it, then I'd be wearing this maybe, and then the Boxcat would have something else. And then this is a higher level companion collar I found. It has armor piercing and deadly. So I just wanted to up the damage a little bit. It's nothing extraordinary, but it does, Boxcat can trip things. Its enhancements, I always drag Sunder and Trip onto its bar. All of these used to be things you would have to take separately in the olden times, but not anymore. You can just get them. And so I just expand these, drop them into here. I very rarely ever look into these things, but apparently it's got decent DCs, and throughout the leveling process, I have various collars for pets as well. So yeah, it looks like they got a lot of really. I think they just basically made these a little bit better than they used to be, because they used to run into traps, die a lot. It's like you had your choice of evasion or tankiness type builds, but now it seems like they just chuck everything onto them. So the pet's stats are pretty darn good, I would say. I mean, nothing to, if I make him use the ship buffs, then he'll get all the resistances and obviously everything else, which I do. It's one of the first things I do every time I sign on. Yep, so this is it for the feats. Spells or whatever. I just try to fill all the slots in. I don't necessarily use all of these, if any of them. Like this would be kind of interesting. I've seen Bear Party DDO use it. I use it when I'm a caster version of an Artificer, but I almost never use it when I'm playing ranged, because it doesn't have the range my bow does, and so by the time they come in, I would have to, chuck this when I'd rather be chucking this tactical detonation, which again, I don't have great DCs on anything. if I do have decent DCs, it would only be because of the past lives of wizards, probably. I believe you get a +2 to all of the DCs of your stuff as a whiz past life. I think that's the bonus you get. Let's see. Yep, no, you get spell penetration and the DCs of the wands, so it's not contributing to the DCs. That stinks. But I do get spell penetration, so that's handy. Where do I think I get DCs from then? DCs of evocation. I get +3 based on the sorcerer past lives. I knew I was getting some somewhere because I tended to do fairly decent, but again, I don't know. Not a super big min-maxer. I do use the crucial stats. Whoops, I didn't mean to close that. So we're on spells. Enhancements, we don't have to look at them in here because these are a lot of passive ones, but I guess it's a nice consolidated view of them. So this comes from the Harper tree, Agent of Good 1 and Agent of Good 2. So I think those are the two cores, and we'll look at them in conjunction with it. So Control R, bring the character sheet over. And so yeah, these are the two cores, and then obviously I have 3 of the intelligences. Some of the melee, or some of the range power comes from this, and then this gives you another +1 to your weapons enhancement bonus. And you get a little bit of spell points on top of it, so that's nice. I got a little HP and a little int to the attack modifier, which is why I end up having to augment that with this insightful damage. So insightful damage takes my int modifier and it staples it on to the bow damage. What's this doing for me? This is my healing amp, so I don't have the greatest healing amp in the world, but I don't have the worst either. So I've got this from this, and then the past lives paladins. Or I'm talking out of my backside again, but I'm pretty sure I took 3 levels of paladin for. Yes, your healing amp is increased 10% per past life. So I'm getting a 30% boost to positive energy healing, which is why I can play as a Warforged, use normal healing spells, because then in the racial tree for Warforged you have somewhere over in this side of it a Healer's Friend, and Healer's Friend allows you to start taking a boost from that. So then you can I don't remember where else I can get some healing amp from, but I want to say there's something in this tree. Yes, so you get additional healing amp from here, which I tend to run in this tree and this tree as a Artificer. Yep, and so there's that. So this comes from the core of this, so we'll just work on this one. This one's a little bit weird to try to line everything up. So again, more damage. This is equal to more damage all the way up this entire side of the tree. So I just put all the points I can into it. Then you finally get a little bit of critical threat range at the end. So having a wide critical threat range means you're critical hitting a lot more, and more equals better. And then pair that with double shot and things like that. I think you just start to experience a whole new world of damage, I reckon. These add imbue dice, so and 20 melee and range power. So that's where a lot of extra damage can come from, just having that because of the imbues scale with your ranged power. If I'm remembering that correctly, it'll say right here. I think on somewhere it says what they scale with, but I do believe although I do put points into the electric spell power, so maybe they're scaling with spell power. Something scales with range power though, so I don't know. I'm always confused by it. again, don't care all that much. Maybe it was these that say. Yeah, okay, so these damage scale with ranged power. So the more you can put into your ranged power, the more these are going to hit harder. So we're kind of learning some of this together. But, so I think if you, so we're getting +3 imbue dice. Another +1, so we got a 4 total imbue dice. Because I run with deadly weapons, because I feel like I'm doing fine in the imbue dice, I want to spread. I don't want all my eggs in one basket. Let's just put it that way. So I take well enough, and then I get imbues from this. And these scale also with the range spell power, range power. So, you know, the higher, obviously standing still, starting your combat from a much farther place away will give you an opportunity to get more of the archer's focus and thus increase the imbue damage. And it's kind of, you know, a chain reaction. Just the more you can hit from far away, the more stacks you're going to get. So by the time things close distance, you can hit them with a big shot. So sure, mine start off weak. I usually fire this from a distance to knock a pack down. Then I follow up with this, and then, like I said, I follow up with this. So whatever target I had, say there was a Reaper standing in the middle of a bunch of monsters, I target the Reaper. Obviously, I want that out of my life as quickly as possible. So we'll start the chain with this, and I work my way 3-2 or 4-3-2. Usually I'll start combat. If I'm smart enough to turn it on, I'll turn this on, and then if I see something, I'll boost it up. I usually get 6 of these if I'm standing. I don't know why it bounces around from 6 to 5, but I don't care all that much. I never use all of these in a quest. I've come close, but I don't think I ever do. I try to save them for just big things because usually everything dies anyway. And then I will sometimes use Lightning Sphere. I took Lightning Sphere, though, to more try out in the quest with the ballistas, where you take those out. I learned something cool about Chaos Mancer. You can throw the Chaos Orb down onto those things and destroy them quite easily. It seems to have a very good range, but this did not. I figured since they looked similar and functioned similarly, they would work similarly. They do not. Anyway, so I think this is where I'm getting a lot of some of the extra damage too. And if I had better electric spell power, which I don't, then I'd even do even more damage. The infused armor, I just take that because I believe this is, it's either this or does this give you magic missiles? This is where I get my magic missile immunity from. This is my primary healing spell, period. I do this sometimes if I remember it here. Healing Spring. It's just because I think it's in the Sharadi tree. We'll look at that soon. I use my Rune Arm as a damage augment. So eventually my Rune Arm will be doing ridiculous damage. Right now it does what I would say is still very ridiculous damage. And we can take a look at that real quick on the dummy over here. I have another video where I show this off, but this is all based off of your spell power. So I'm going to hit my Z key and I know a lot of people believe that the Rune Arm is not good for damage, but I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. I've never had that experience in the game at all. Like, I'm one-shotting that dummy. Like, by one shot, sure, there's 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't even know how many things. Let's bring up the combat screen. Like, all I see is lots of damage happened and the thing died. So, I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. It's anecdotal, but my rune arms are amazing. So, up until I got this epic thing this life, I used Strenades exclusively until even through epic leveling, just because it's the better of the ones I have, I guess. I've got tons of rune arms. It's just the one I like most until I got these. I've grown kind of used to them, so I really like them now. So I'm going to turn that off because I hate... I'm trying to talk, but look at that. 2,000 damage. They got a chance to spell crit. We can see it right here. Spell crit. Your ghost shot has greater effect. It did 2,000 damage. I don't know. What's your opinion? I'd like to hear in the comment section on that. But that's affected by this evil damage that I've got going on here, which is 222 with a 15% boost on its damage on a crit. So yeah, it doesn't crit a lot, but it does. When it does crit, it crits hard. Or no, that's electric I'm looking at. I'm sorry. Where's the evil? It's right above it. It only has a 5% chance. But it's got a lot of power behind it because of the imbue. And then I've got some chaos, which that's just from obviously some radiance I got from somewhere. Like evil's not even my best light. I would be better served, I guess, having stay good in my Shirati tree. So maybe I'll respec out of that. But anyway, let's go back through this a little bit. So I just put a few into here where I can benefit from the extra armor class and stuff. So this is about as high as I go, and then I get to unlock one int out of the thing and a few hit points. But this is just so my rune arm charges faster. And then you can get more enhancements. We'll look at those later in the epic tree for macrotechnic. Yeah, I don't do Fuse a lot. I have in the past. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm indifferent. Sometimes I use it. Sometimes I don't. I tend to do fine without it. Just my play style isn't such that I need a machine gun anyway. I'm more of a tactical and strategic player. So I rely on cover, and then I rely on some plan that I formulate just before going into combat to try to control the battlefield. So this is it for the... So this is giving me a little physical resistance and stuff, and it eliminates my arcane spell failure. So you may have seen earlier in my lives I would fail on on some of these things quite a bit. I believe this has arcane spell failure on it. I don't know. There's a few scrolls that I was suffering arcane spell failure on. I need more true seeing scrolls, but I get that from my hireling. So, but I like having it longer. Hers was only about 15 minutes maybe. Yeah, and so I take this. So I always take the capstones. I like capstones. That's why I never multi-class. I just don't like being spread. I already feel like I'm spread really thin with the things I'm taking. So I would rather have access to this because I don't have a lot of great gear. I really rely on that extra +4 to the intelligence since it is my primary stat for just about everything I do. And then you get a little more armor, as we saw in my armor class. And then, yeah, so you end up with a total of +3 extra. Your equipped weapon in your main hand is now a spell casting implement. Oh, so I'm getting, yeah, so my weapon's now an implement, so it's giving me a little bit of extra spell power, which is then boosting my lightning imbues and other things. So my lightning imbue, my evil imbue. So it's, yeah, don't discount a lot of these things, I guess. You know, I don't like spend a lot of time thinking about these. I just know that I'm filling this tree out because I am a ranged artificer. So it's not like I sit down and go, man, okay, I'm gonna put this point in here and that point in there. That's absolutely not how I play this game. Some people do, and that's really awesome that they do. I don't. My Sunder is being affected by this, so that's where if I didn't have these three, then it would be 50. So 3 of it comes from here. This is cool, but again, critical multiplier, so I'm helping my critical range out. This looks like some armory thing. I think we already looked at that, right? Your equipped armor or docent also grants you a +5 PRR. So my PRR I feel like is decent enough. 111. So it is what it is, I guess. Some of that's coming from the weapon, some of it's from that tree. Now we can look at the epic destinies. I think I'm saving a point on purpose, or maybe I'm not, or I just haven't spent it. 15% more fortification and +3 healing amp sounds very good to me. And my rune arms now benefit from maximize, empower, and intensify. Yes, please. Thank you for helping me spend my epic point. Now let's see how that affects this, because now it says, and I believe the word said, even if you don't turn them on. Yeah, simply if you own those feats. So we've already seen the kind of damage it did prior to that. I have every single one of them. All of them, the turn up the damage meta magics. Yep, so we'll get maximize and empower anyway. I don't have intensify, but whatever. Let's turn up the juice and holy mackerel, and then I got a bonus Sharati effect on that. That one was meh, but like it was still good. So again, more, I don't know, more evidence to the contrary that these are just flavor. Ugh. So I think that we'll go through this. Let me turn that noisy thing off. It makes that cool electrical sound. Alright. So I put a lot of points into this when I'm an Artificer because there's a lot of really cool things. You start to get DCs up really high, and then you get some more universal spell power, which then boosts your imbues, etc. So we're going to get +5 electric repair. And so that's just going to make all of those imbues even better. I believe there are some things in here that... Yeah, so this is a drive that will enhance our Rune Arm Blast. Once per second, an enemy hit by your Rune Arm spell takes an additional 1d4 sonic damage per caster level, scaling with spell power. Or electric damage, scaling with spell power. So once I get up there, I'll look at where I'm at with those spell powers and see which one I want to spend in. But since I do have some points in either one, we'll just see where that goes. But this is nice. I actually like getting that, and I think each core gives me +5 more range power. So my range power just went up, and I will be doing even more damage. So now I'm at standing 93 prior to all of the other effects that I can be boosted by. Don't know that this does, this just adds a stable charge tier, which is always handy because as you're running around, your Rune Arm loses charge. So if I turn this on and I move, I drop down to 4, but I think I always stay at 4. Yeah, so I'm always mostly max. That way I can go zoom in and come in and just like hit something with, you know, a nearly full rune arm. Alright. Whoops. I just ate my almond coated apple. What does that even do? Oh my gosh, more ranged power. Yeah, so look at like... Yeah, so, I don't know. It just... I got all these little sources of damage and they're just... And they all add up. This is giving me ranged power and this is also giving me ranged power. The only reason I took this was I've been dabbling in all the various trees and honestly maybe I'll move my epic strike over to here. I've seen Fair Party DDO using this and he seems to like it, so maybe I'll give it a shot. I do have Stay Loud. This I don't know what this does for me. Gets Pluck the String is the ranged version. Does sonic damage per character level. Also, you get +4 critical threat range. Holy mackerel. What's this stupid thing do? Let me close this because this is the epic strike I have. It's an AoE attack. Make a single shot ranged attack that shatters on impact, hitting all enemies in an area around where it lands. I haven't been impressed by this in the least. I mean, slowing them seems like it would be good, but I've just not been using it at the right time, and the plus 30% damage seems good, but it feels like my plus 30% damage on these, or this is 50% damage, but this seems way better, even in Epic, than this thing does, just on its own. Again, it seems kind of maybe I'll move it over and try this, so I won't do that here, but this is just giving me extra. I already had charges of this, and this just gives me one I in here because having 6 of these seem better than 5. This gives me more double shot. Double shot equals more damage, so that's why I take that. I take this for the cold iron damage reduction and the Force, Chaos, and Universal Spell Power, which helps all my stuff out. And this is just to do the 15% chance of doing massive sonic damage. So many dice of sonic damage here. And 7% to do that with spells is kind of cool too, because we did see my rune arm counts as a spell, and so 7% chance to just smash something with sonic damage in addition to all the evil damage, and it scales with my range power. So if I've got a lot of stacks of the thing and then I want to do a finishing move on a boss or something with my rune arm, holy moly, it just really starts to add up. So again, not stuff I thought much about other than I read the words on these things and go, 15% chance seems like a pretty good amount of the time. It's not 0 and it's greater than 1, and and 15% seems like a pretty decent amount of the time. It's better than hitting a normal crit, and I crit 20% of the time, I think, is what we talked about earlier, and so there we go. So if you spend a lot of time thinking about these, your characters could be even better. I just don't care enough. This is a video game, so for me it's what I do for some entertainment after work and to hopefully entertain you all. This just gives me some AC. So I like this tree with the Artificer. I was pretty happy when they added it, because I do play Artificer quite a bit, just like I said, it's my favorite class in the game next to the casting classes. And just it's just the whole idea. I mean, being a fan of MacGyver, this is a very MacGyver-like character in my mind because you do have all of these cool things you can do. I can cast displacement scrolls on myself. I can cast, greater heroism on myself. I don't need anybody to help me out with a lot of these things. And then my hirelings come along, and it's like having my own group of extra sidekicks that can fill in any gaps that I have. This is extra healer. She can give you some buffs. This is if you're playing Warforged, then this becomes, you can be healed by this and this, like, so I use repair spells. I've got repair critical here. I don't have it maximized or empowered. I probably could. I don't. I just rather cast it more times, I guess. But Box Cat is pretty tough, so. And, this guy will repair your other construct things anyway. So, again, it's, they help each other out if you get the right pairings of hirelings in here if you're not going for a melee. I rarely ever use melee hirelings except at very, very early levels. So anyway, that we have thoroughly dissected Aygnus, I hope. I hope that answers a lot of any questions that have risen about the build. I know I don't talk about it very much, if ever. In fact, I've never talked during Aygnus's videos except for recent ones. So that is the build. So let me know if you have more questions. This is another way I augment my damage. So I guess going through some of these buffs. Armor of Speed. It gives you some bonus to your attack rolls. So I always have this buff on if I don't forget to turn it on. I drink these potions. I add extra alchemical bonus to the electric damage that I do from my imbue. So yeah, just lots and lots of little things that I rarely think about, but I guess that's why I do decent amounts of damage. Definitely not the best. I mean, if you want to see amazing damage, the Bear Party DDO, his red character he was playing as Artificer, does way more damage output than Aygnus does. But I'm happy with where Aygnus is at. She's more of a Swiss Army girl than a high output damage machine. All right, well, we will call this an episode. It's a very long one, but it takes a lot of effort to dissect a character. I think I learned a lot from this as well, because I'm like, I wonder where I'm getting all this damage from, but I didn't care enough to go looking for it. But because a viewer did have a question if I had a build for this, unfortunately I do not, but I hope just seeing what I put my points into maybe answered some of the questions and will help you get more damage out of your builds. Or I'll learn from some of you. So leave some comments if you have advice for where maybe I can find even more damage. It would be appreciated. Till the next episode, see you. Have a good evening.